Hello, I'm Zaccura and welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I am drawing one of my favorite characters from the anime My Hero Academia, otherwise known as Boku no Hero Academia, named Katsuki Bakugo, or Kachan. I almost considered saying Super Explosion Lord, but yeah, you know what I'm talking about if you watch the anime. I made this drawing for my new travel sketchbook. It's the same kind that I used last year, which you see I did an illustration of Eraserhead because I was a big fan of My Hero Academia at the time, and I still am now. And so I got a new one, and that's why I'm making this image. I'm making this illustration much smaller than normal so that it fits in the customized cover for this sketchbook. Oh my god, I wasn't planning to, definitely, but this drawing was less struggle. I mean, oh my god, I don't know why. It wasn't happening for me. So much erasing, so much redoing, so much frustration, oh my gosh. And it was really weird too because it wasn't the first time that I had drawn a similar pose to what I ended up using. I had drawn that pose a lot because I love drawing actiony poses, and yet for some reason just every single part of it was not agreeing with me. I couldn't decide what angle the head should be. I couldn't decide how his arms should be. I had to redraw his front hand like a million times. Oh my god, it was a struggle, seriously. And I think part of it comes from drawing a character that I've never drawn before. I haven't drawn Kachan before, but so this is the first time, so I was kind of struggling with making sure that he definitely looks like Bakugo, but while at the same time not completely just copying the style from the anime, but also trying to put my own style into it. So yeah, that was a struggle. And then so I figured, you know what, why not take a moment to talk about struggling in your artwork and how that is completely okay. I mean, I understand when you're new how much you beat yourself up because of your struggles, and how that can be really disheartening when you struggle so much. And I know the feeling when you're just going and you're drawing and drawing and it's not happening, and that little shoulder devil appears on your shoulder and he's like, yo, you suck. I know the feeling, but you really shouldn't feel that way, because I think everyone struggles. I think even the best artists still struggle at certain things, because I am a firm believer that as artists, we are forever students. There are always going to be things that we need to improve on, or things that we're not great at. And it's true that we get better at things over time, and we don't struggle on certain things as much the more experience that we get. We still struggle on things all the time, and I'm not a very experienced artist, by the way, so yeah, I'm not trying to talk about oh, I'm so experienced and I still struggle. No, I'm still really inexperienced, and that's why I'm struggling. But I think the difference though between struggling now for me and when I was just starting out was as much as I struggled in this drawing, I still had a lot of fun. It was still really fun to eventually get it right. Even though I had to erase it a million times and redraw it a million times, I still had fun, and I was still proud of what I did. And I remember when I was starting out, everything was a struggle, and it wasn't necessarily always fun. It was just frustrating. I would sometimes just quit. I can't do this. I'll put it down, and I'll be like, man, I suck. I can't do this. And I think the reason that I don't have that anymore is because of the experience of knowing that as I keep trying and keep getting at it, that I will eventually get it right and that I will improve. And when you're new, you don't have that experience yet. So you kind of just always have this nagging feeling that you just stuck and you're never going to improve. But just know that that's not true, and that every single artist, even the ones that you admire, you know, those art gods that you love so much, they started out where you started out, maybe even less than you. I mean, who knows? They could just, everyone at some point was drawing stick figures, okay? No one was born with like some natural talent to just draw amazingly. It comes from practice, it comes from dedication. And just know that every second, every minute that you are holding that pencil and drawing on that paper, your EXP is going up. Yes, I'm going to use video games to explain this. You are gaining EXP every time you draw. It doesn't matter what you're doing, it doesn't matter how bad you think it is, you are getting better while you're doing that. And if you have a little bit of experience, if you've already been drawing for some months or even a couple years, you'll probably can look at your older drawings and see like, wow, you really have improved. And that is not going to stop. You are going to keep improving. And I understand that for some, it's a little slower than others. Some people just catch on faster, and that can, suck for those who don't catch on as fast, who struggle more. But just know that everyone has their own pace in things, and you shouldn't quit just because someone else out there you feel is better than you. Because this isn't a competition. This is about self-growth, and that's what it should be about. You should be drawing because you want to get better, not because you want to be as good as someone else. It's true that it's okay to have inspirations from other artists and feel like, oh yeah, I want to get to that level. But that shouldn't be the only reason. It shouldn't be just so that you can prove that you can draw as good as someone else. It should be simply because you love drawing and you want to get better. And also, by the way, struggling means that you are working hard. It means that you are trying. So I think that we learn more from our struggles than we do from ease. So yeah, basically what I'm just trying to say is just enjoy drawing and know that every second that you're holding that pencil to that paper, you are gaining EXP, and at some point you are going to level up. And hopefully by showing that, I struggle, and if you go on YouTube, you'll see other videos too. Other artists sometimes show that they struggle too. That, no one's perfect, and that's okay. That is completely okay. Because, the struggle was real, y'all, in this drawing, okay? I mean, just every part of it was not agreeing with me. I am quite happy with the end result, however, but just every part. I mean, the original sketching, I had to redraw his hands so many times because I wasn't happy with it, and then eventually I got it into the right position, only to realize oh wait a minute, he has gauntlets, and those gauntlets wouldn't allow him to have his hand up in that angle, and so I had to erase it and redraw it again. And then when it came to the coloring, I didn't have all the colors that I felt that I needed. His hair, for example, it's blonde, but it isn't very vibrant blonde, and I didn't really have that kind of muddy yellow color. I had these really vibrant yellows, and so I was trying to how am I going to do this? How am I going to get it right? So yeah, the struggle was real. Alright, the struggle was real. Now, I also wanted to combine this video. Originally, I wasn't going to talk at all about struggling, but since I struggled so much, I thought maybe it'd be a good idea to combine that in this video. But for this video, I wanted to actually give a review on the anime My Hero Academia. So that's what I'm going to be talking about right now. Yeah. So My Hero Academia is my favorite anime of the recent years. I love it more than Attack on Titan. I love it more than One Punch Man. Though those two are definitely really, really close seconds. But My Hero Academia takes the cake for me, and I'll tell you why. Because it just has everything, in my opinion. It has action, it has comedy, it has drama. It just has everything. I mean, it has superpowers, okay? Like, I love superpowers. You know, growing up as a kid in the US, like, superheroes are bae. Okay, so it's about superheroes, and it has, like, all these different subjects that I really love. And that's why I feel like it's one of, like, the awesomest anime at the moment right now, is because I feel that it can appeal to a huge audience. People who love action will love this anime. People who don't love action as much and prefer more things like psychological, drama will love this anime. And that's really what separated this anime from ones like Attack on Titan and One Punch Man. One Punch Man is like action and comedy, and Attack on Titan is like drama and gore. It's like really heavy and stuff. And I feel that My Hero Academia is that it's that feel-good anime that will still make you cry, but it'll also make you laugh, and it's gripping. Like, every single episode is gripping, especially in the first season. Like, if you haven't watched this anime yet, set some time out, because you're gonna want to binge watch that first season. Okay, because it is so good. Every single episode is so gripping. It'll make your heart race, but at the same time, it's not heavy. And I know that some people like really heavy anime, that's why Attack on Titan is really popular, but hey, I love Attack on Titan. Alright, I can take me some heavy anime once in a while, but at the same time, if you're like constantly watching really heavy anime, like, it can like affect you. Like, you feel sad like all the time. And that's why I love anime that just, it can be emotional, but at the same time it feels good. It leaves you with a good feeling, and I think this anime does that. To break it down, one is the characters. There's a really ensemble cast, and every single character is so well developed. I've been kind of staying away from the manga because I love the anime so much, which I guess is kind of stupid, but from what I've seen from a few chapters of the manga, the anime follows very closely to the manga. And so the author, or the mangaka rather, named Kohei Horikoshi, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, is an incredible writer. I mean, he really quickly became like one of my favorite writers, because I've also been reading his older works, and he's just so good at developing his characters, and like, his mastery of facial expressions is like, that is some good stuff right there. He can get every single face that you can imagine, and it's just like, damn, that's the emotion right there. And that shows a lot in the anime. And I think that attributed a lot to the crying in the first episode. Like, I think this was the first anime I've ever watched that brought me to tears by the very first episode. Usually it takes longer because I need to know the characters in order to really feel for them. But just by the first episode of this anime, I was already in tears, and it's so emotional. And I think part of that is the character development and the animation. But also, one thing that I love about this anime is how real it is. And I don't mean like real, because there's no superheroes in real life. But what I mean is the way the characters are developed, who they are, feels very real. This story feels really much like if superpowers rather existed in real life, how would the world be? And how would it feel to grow up in this world? What kind of problems would we have? And how would it feel if we didn't have that power that everyone else seems to have? And that gets brought to you by that very first episode, and you feel so much for Midoriya, who's the main character, by the way. And throughout the whole anime, what I really loved about it was that each character really feels like a teenager, which is refreshing because in so many shonen anime stories, they tend to have, like, you know, obviously younger people as the main characters, but a lot of the time they're basically adults trapped in children's bodies. They don't really feel like children. They don't really feel like they have the same problems that we have when we grow up. They feel like they're kind of more mature already. And I think a lot of time it has to do with, like, they're always orphans for some reason. Like, that's a cliche in the shonen world. And I you know, as a writer myself, I kind of, like, I get why they do that all the time. I think part of it is because it's cliche, everyone just kind of keeps doing it, but also having family, it complicates the story, because I mean, what kind of parents will let their kids go out on an adventure where they're most likely gonna get killed? Like, seriously? And that's like the basis of almost every single shonen, is young people going out on an adventure where they're probably gonna die. And like, no parents would ever let their kids do that. So oftentimes just having them not have family, it removes that complication. But I love the fact that they didn't do that with My Hero Academia. They really are kids with parents and family, and they make a point of that, and how family can hurt, and that tough relationship between, you know, doing what you love and having your family support you or not support you. And that just brings an extra layer of depth to the characters, and I love that. You know, I think that that's a really great thing that they did.
Another thing is, I feel that the overall storytelling style is more mature.
I feel like sometimes the anime can be, in shonen, it can be a bit immature. Like, it's just like, I'm a good guy, this is a bad guy, he's doing really bad things, I'm gonna beat his butt up, and that's okay. But this anime, you know, it talks about really, what does it really mean to be a hero? You know, what is the difference between a hero and the villain? Because a lot of time in anime, when you really get down to it, despite the fact that the bad guy is usually doing some, like, really grotesque, like, evil stuff, the attitude or the way that the villain and the protagonist goes about following their dreams is really similar. But we feel that it's okay if the protagonist wins because he's just an overall better person. He doesn't hurt innocent people, or he just has a really kind heart. But you know, a lot of time the protagonists, like, they kill people, like, on the, like, as long as they're bad guys, right? It's okay to kill people as long as they're bad guys. And you know, and everything just always happens to work out perfectly in that way, where everyone that the protagonist happens to harm, whether on purpose or by accident, just so happens to be bad, and everyone that the villain hurts is always good. And that's a little coincidental in my opinion. Alright, that doesn't, like, happen all the time. At the same time, like, I'm old school, I love old anime like that. But at the same time, it's really, really refreshing to have an anime like this that really talks about, like, really what is the difference between a hero and a villain. And they really show what does it really mean to be a hero. It's not just about superpowers, it's not just about beating up the bad guy, you know, what does it really mean in your heart to be a hero? And they show that so well with All Might and Midoriya. Another thing is, like, if you love fight scenes, you're gonna love this anime because the fight scenes are really, really good, in my opinion. Like, it kind of has that old school-esque to it, but at the same time, it's really new school. That sounds so cheesy saying that, but it is, in the sense that, again, they're just teenagers going to school. They're not masterful kung fu geniuses who just so happen to know how to pull off the most amazing moves ever on their very first try, which is so common in shonen. Like, for example, Naruto. If you watched old Naruto, when, you know, Naruto and Sasuke and whatever, they're all like 12 years old, they come up with this plan together and they execute it absolutely perfectly. And I'm like, okay, you coming up with that plan was already amazing, but like the fact that you were able to execute it like on your first try with so little experience is like, wait a minute, how and why isn't it that no one's making a point of the fact that they just pulled off like the most massively kung fu master moves right there when they're only 12 years old with no experience? But in this show, it's like, yeah, they're just kids. They don't really know how to fight yet, and they really show that. One of my favorite fight scenes from this anime is in season 2. I'm not gonna like spoil it, but it's between Deku, Midoriya versus. I am so terrible with names. Oh my god, I can't remember his name. The guy that looks like Beethoven. Okay. There's a fight scene between the two. I'm not gonna spoil what happens, obviously, but what I really loved about that fight scene was how gritty and raw it was, because of the fact that like they don't really know how to fight. They're just these two kids, and they ask them to go and fight each other, and the fight feels really real. And I feel that every single fight scene is like that. You feel like there are real consequences when people get hurt. Unlike many shonen where they can just get blasted through buildings and mountains and just get up and like spit a little bit of blood and just keep going, like I'm ready to go. You feel like they can really get hurt. They can really get hurt, and I think that makes the fight scenes even more gripping and even more real. And I love how it's orchestrated in that way, and how they make a point that like you might be able to know in your head how to get out of this situation or how to win, but that doesn't mean that your body is physically ready to do it, and you may fail and you can't necessarily do it. And they make a point of that in this anime. So yeah, I mean, I'd give it a 9 out of 10, like on the scale of Zaccura's anime rating system. 9 out of 10, because it, in my opinion, just has everything.
I mean, I think the only thing it doesn't really have would be like romance. I think it's not really like romantic. So if you're like only watch romance, then I guess you might not like My Hero Academia. Inversely, like if you only like horror stuff like that, like really dark stuff, then you also probably won't really like My Hero Academia that much.
So there you go. I mean, this was like my first time reviewing an anime, and I rambled on a lot because I can ramble on about My Hero Academia all day because of how much I absolutely love it. But if you haven't seen this anime, go watch it. It's already really deep into season 2. It's like I can't even... The thought of it almost... It's like near its end. Season 2 is already almost over. Like, heartbreaking right now. But seriously, if you haven't seen it, go watch it. If you have seen it, let me know what you think about this anime in the comments section. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me struggle with this drawing. If you found this video entertaining at all, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you don't miss out on upcoming videos. All the materials used for this illustration can be found in the description box, along with links to my social media pages where you can follow me for daily updates. And until next time, stay awesome, stay inspired, always. See ya!